Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, a police officer is charged. Find out why.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, why commercial banking might be in jeopardy. The story is straight ahead.
And night league action highlights as well. The Bahamas tonight, the national report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
The former chairman of the Police Staff Association hauled before the courts today to answer charges. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks for joining us. Fern Carey tells us tonight that the arraignment comes just days ahead of the Police Staff Association's elections.
Former executive chairman of the Police Staff Association, Inspector Dwight Smith, arrived at the Nassau Street Court complex shortly after 2 p.m. and was taken into the police station for processing. The inspector is facing an indecent assault charge. The news apparently came as a shock to a relative who arrived minutes later and ran into the station, apparently to find out what was going on. A short while later, Smith reappeared and was escorted into court by his fellow police officers. Now in court, Smith was charged with indecently assaulting a female back on December 27th of last year. To that charge, he pleaded not guilty. Police prosecutor ASP Ursula Dossett did not object to bail, and it was granted in the amount of $5,000 with one surety. However, Smith was ordered to stay away from the virtual complainant. Smith's arraignment comes just days ahead of Police Staff Association elections, which are scheduled to take place this coming Monday. He was seeking to be re-elected as executive chairman. However, because he has been charged before the court with an offense, he will not be able to run. Outside court, Smith's attorney, Devad Francis, explained what is next for his client.
He is supposed to be transported from here after because we would have just sought bail on his behalf, and after he would satisfy the bail prerequisites and his shorter would have signed for him, then he would be transported to police headquarters and he'll be in the commissioner's hand. Dwight is in high spirits because the thing is about it is that when you're innocent, the chips may fall where they may.
Meantime, Smith returns to court on January 21st for a date to be set for his trial. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
25-year-old Makiko Black expected back in court tomorrow to learn her fate for the killing of her husband, Defense Force Officer Leonardo Black, back on April 19th of 2010. During the sentencing hearing last December, Black's attorney argued for her to be released on probation with a heavy emphasis on community service, noting that the 25-year-old had an abusive relationship with her husband. However, the Crown noted that the court must send a strong message of deterrence to society in the sentence it hands down.
Commercial banking could be impacted by a work to rule at the central bank. The unions representing line and managerial staff are protesting a change in the pension plan, which both groups insist is not only illegal, but simply unfair and unjust. Kendino Knowles is following the story tonight.
In a show of solidarity, the unions up at Central Bank marched in front of the bank today during their lunch break in protest of recent changes to the group's pension plan. The unions claim the changes took effect without union consultation.
The industrial agreement states that there should be that they cannot change the pension plan, that they have to maintain a pension plan consistent with what we have at the moment, which is a defined benefit. Now, what the bank really wanted to do was to change the entire pension plan to a defined contribution. But I think they realized that this is a strong union and we were not going to be overshadowed by them. So then they changed their position.
According to the union, the bank then announced that effective December 31st, as part of cost-cutting measures, pensioners would be asked to take out 75% of their pension contributions, with the bank left to match only the remaining 25%. Blindsided by the move, Central Bank Managers Union President Talbot Colley says staff members are peeved.
What the bank is proposing to do by this step is to turn this into a welfare state.
It's very difficult for persons to manage on 25% of pension, especially with persons having to pay a high medical insurance. The medical insurance alone will probably be covering the 25%.
In attempts to have the move reversed, the unions intend to remain on work to rule for however long it takes.
We are good, excellent employees. We are professional people, okay? The workday starts for most of us at 9 o'clock. Most of us are in here before 8:30, but now we're going to be in here at 9, or we will start our work at 9. We end at 5 o'clock. Well, at 5 o'clock, we're making mass exodus out of the bank, okay? We're taking our lunch breaks, and we're taking our 2 15-minute breaks.
And this is not so good news for commercial banks that will, by extension, be affected in some way by this type of action.
We are not making any statement to sabotage the financial running of the country, right? We could only say that we will take all necessary steps to advance the interests of the persons affected.
Now, while the unions are hoping for an amicable agreement with bank officials, they are promising drastic measures if there is no resolve to their gripes real soon. Kendino Knowles, ZNS Network News.
The central bank issued a statement late this afternoon strongly objecting union assertions that it had made unilateral changes to the pension plan. The statement points out that every decision made impacting employees is taken after having made a considered and careful evaluation of its impact and having employed a consultative process. The bank says it takes its obligation to employees seriously and would never make arbitrary or capricious decisions. The statement went on to say that the bank recognizes that change, especially of this nature, is often resisted. However, the bank insists measures were taken to ensure that proposals were understood by employees and that they had opportunity to have their concerns heard.
In our first look at weather, chilly temperatures are affecting the northwest Bahamas following the passage of a cold front. But outside of our studios, we have mostly cloudy skies. Your temperature 66 degrees, relative humidity 64%. Your winds are out of the northwest at 8 knots, barometric pressure 1,017.4 millibars. That's 30.04 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned. Temperatures around the Family Violence, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Coming up, the Minister of Tourism says we need to keep the word going about the Bahamas.
And the Cybots hit the court in pursuit of a championship. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.